What's going on? Jake here with Uncommon EDC, checking out the March 2023 Going Gear EDC Club Premium subscription. And if you're not familiar, for $60 a month, they send 2 to 5 EDC items, or for $140 more, $200 total, you get everything in the standard box, plus the premium items, which are usually 1 to 2 items, making up that different alternate value. And so, really cool box, love the subscription. I opened this one up already because I was really curious about the fate of last month's flashlight, which I still don't have an update on, and it was one of the things they were just kind of missing some, and so said they'd ship them out later. I'll talk more about that situation at the end of this video because not everyone's going to care about that, especially if you're not watching this at the time of release. But let's get into what's in there, and then we'll talk about that whole issue. And so again, this is already open, so I'm going to mostly just kind of pull this off camera because I opened the boxes inside as well, so you're not getting super spoiled. If you do want spoilers, we do have the letter here, premium on top, standard on the bottom. Feel free to pause that and read along. But I'll start with the standard items and then work my way through to the premium items. So starting out with the Tech Accessories Embrite Beacon Morale Patch. This is a morale patch that is a piece of Embrite. That's just a glowing material. It comes with this adhesive backed hook side and then the loop side on the other, so that you can stick it to surfaces that don't already have a hook Velcro panel. But if you want to stick it to those, it'll work just as well. And these are really great for if you're hiking at night. You can throw this on the back of a bag so that whoever you're hiking with can easily find you. You can use it. It does emit a little bit of light if you need to just read something in a pinch. You keep it real close to it. It has enough glow that you can see it. And just whatever you really want to use it for, just as an identifier, mark a waypoint in your dark driveway, I don't know. You can use it for what you want, but these are pretty cool. And Embrite, not really familiar with. They sent a little card. They're a certified Embrite user, and it says that it's guaranteed to be the brightest glow possible, charges when exposed to direct to indirect UV light, while glowing over time. Embrite can be charged with almost any light source, and once it's charged, it will last up to 12 hours. Charging glowing cycles can be performed an infinite amount of time, so they're not going to break down over time. And so, cool enough, I have a similar one from CountyCom. I'll probably do a little short comparing the glow on the two because the CountyCom version is not Embrite. And so we'll be interested to see how this performs versus that one. $18.95, a little bit on the pricey side for what it is, but maybe Embrite's just an expensive material, I don't know. It's not insane compared to what we pay for some Ranger eyes. We pay the same price, and so not going to complain or harp on that, but seems a little bit pricey for what it is. But we'll see how that performs over time. Now, next up is this Matador Nano Dry Trek Towel. And so I have some other Matador products, mainly their blankets. They have a couple different sizes. This did come in a box. I just pulled everything out, and somehow the silicone attracts every dog hair in the house. But it is come in the silicone case, and it's got this kind of quick drying material you can pull out. It comes nice and rolled up and folded. I just didn't fold it after I pulled it out. Really great for just wiping things down, drying your sweat. If you want to wash your hands and have a bottle of water, you can wash them off, dry them with this, or even really kind of scrub with this. And so really cool material. It's a little bit like rough and gritty feeling, but it should perform pretty well. And a smaller size, it's not going to be a full-size body towel, which I believe they sell as well. This one's smaller. It does have this little hook on here with a clasp, so that you can clip it to you can clip it to a strap, you can hang it from a hook, you can hang it from a branch if you're using it in camping. And so cool little towel, $18. I don't mind that price on this one because I've handled other Matador products and they work really well. I've been really happy with them. I keep a Matador blanket in my glove box. I've taken them with me when I traveled to different countries and used them to sleep in like airport lounges, and so really happy with their products. I'm sure this one will be no exception. So $18 for that seems kind of right on what I would expect, so don't mind that at all, and excited to see that there. I don't have that item already. So the last item in the standard box, we're looking at the Byrd Meadowlark. And if you're not familiar with Byrd, actually let me pull this out. I have a sticker there as well. This isn't listed as one of the items, but they have been sending them out again recently and seem to have a lot of new designs, so that's cool. But if you're not familiar with Byrd, you may recognize the box. It's obviously the same thing as the Spyderco box. Actually, I have a Spyderco box right here. but green with the Byrd logo instead of the Spyderco logo. And Byrd is the sister company of Spyderco. It's kind of the equivalent of Senka to Civivi or Civivi to Wii, where they have a cheaper budget brand, and this is that budget brand. All of them are going to be made in China, although they're designed by the same team that designed Spyderco. And Spyderco is kind of all over the place. They have some in China, they have some in Thailand, I think, and in Italy, I've had one from Italy. So they're designed or manufactured all over the place, but still designed by Spyderco. I do have one other Byrd knife. It's okay. This one I like a little bit better. $40, a stainless steel on the handles, and 8CR13 MOV. And so really heavy pull on that. It's kind of reminiscent of a slip joint, but it is not a slip joint, it's a lockback. And that lockback, a lot of times with lockbacks you do get that, and so nice secure lock up there. 4-position pocket clip. It is reversible right or left, tip up or tip down, and kind of a nice ramp here with a little bit of jimping. Comfortable little knife, really thin on the handles, and overall I like it. It's not going to be super fidgety, but definitely a really good user, and so happy with that. And at $40, that seems pretty reasonable, I think. Now that's the standard box, so the overall value there we're looking at, let's see, around $78 or so. So not too much higher than the $60 price point. That's kind of, you see $80 to $100 a lot in the standard. So that's kind of the low end of the value. So not a great value compared to some of the boxes we've seen. We've definitely seen standard boxes where the value gets over $100 just slightly, and that's kind of the rarity, not the kind of standard. But I think not the greatest value we've seen from a standard box, but I do like all 3 items, and so that definitely counts for something. Even if I'm not getting quite as much value as we get sometimes, I do like all of the items and I'm happy with the items, so really not too much of a complaint there. But let's go into the premium items. We got 2 items this month. A lot of times it's only 1, but it's not. Again, we've gotten 2 items before. And the first item, I'll go with the cheaper, the Olight Gober Kit Safety Light. And these are listed at $30, which is the accurate price. Although if you follow Olight, you can usually bundle these during their monthly sales. They'll have like bundle options on a lot of the new items. And I've seen this on there a few times, and you can get them for significantly cheaper than that $30 price point. But if you're just buying it outright, not on sale, that is the accurate price. I haven't picked one up yet, so glad to see this in the box. And these are basically little identifier lights. They can work as kind of a mini lantern for some minimal light. They're not super bright, 1.5 inches long, 16 grams in weight, smaller than I was expecting, even though I knew they were small. I first saw it, I thought it was like a can of soda size, but then I read the dimensions, knew it was smaller, and then seeing it in person, even smaller than I was expecting. But really kind of nice compact size. You can hang this from your bag, similar to this, to help people find you in the dark. You can hang it from like your pet's collar or your child's backpack if you want to keep track of them. And it's just a nice little safety or signal light. It's also good if you're walking at night on a dark road, that you can kind of show that you're there so you don't get hit by a car. And so these 2 sides operate independently. That was the last mode I was in, but operate independently. You hold it, turn it on, and then you can single click to get through the different modes. And so you can keep them on the same mode. They don't have to be on the same mode at the same time. And you can see there's red, green, and blue lights, as well as a standard, where am I at? Let me turn that off actually. Standard white light. I don't know what I did. I actually haven't read the manual, so not sure what that setting is, but it seems like some sort of strobe. And I don't know how to get back out of that. I'm guessing I triple clicked maybe? Okay, it seems like we're back into standard mode here. So double clicking seems to switch you into a different strobe mode, but if you single click, there is this mode, which isn't exactly a strobe, but it will draw a little bit more attention than a regular light. But cool little light, a lot of different options on here, obviously. And again, not super bright, and it's probably not helping that I have bright lights on here for recording, but enough that, especially even like this white light, if you need it to use it as a makeshift quick lantern, it will work, and has a nice 28-hour runtime, so it'll last a long time, charges in just 1.5 hours, and also doubles as that safety light, which is really nice kind of option there. Super compact. So I like this a lot. $30 again is the standard price, but you can get it cheaper if you're planning on buying it. Just wait for one of those sales. Now the last item in here is an item I already had, but a slightly different version. So it is one of the Benchmade blue class knives. You can see there the Griptilian. The Griptilian was the first Benchmade that I ever picked up. I have one in orange with 154 cm. This is the black version with a S30V blade. And so nice upgrade on the steel there, and nice kind of to get a different colorway. This matches my mini Griptilian a little bit better, which is also black, although it has a black coated blade. But really nice knife, a little bit on the larger side with a 3.45 inch blade. Really great overall, really nice user. Have used that one a ton. That one, the first one that I had picked up, is one that I picked up when I didn't have a lot of knives in my collection. It was probably the 8th or 9th knife that I picked up, and so definitely one that's gotten a lot of use and has held up well. This one definitely needs to be broken in. I find that with a lot of Benchmades, out of the box they're a little bit stiff, but they break in really nice and really quickly. So after just a few days of fidgeting with it, we should see this one kind of swinging open and close, and really nice. It flicks out perfectly, so no complaints there. Just a little bit harder to get it moving into that closed position, but again, there's always that kind of break-in period with the Benchmades for me. Has their deep carry pocket clip, obviously not super deep carry, but they do have a nicer pocket clip, and that is reversible. So pretty cool one overall. And now I'm going to say the same thing as I said with the standard box, and that is with these we get a nice kind of range of, for the premium box, the value of that alone, not accounting for the standard, usually in that $170 to $200 point. And so right now we're looking at $174 for the premium portion of this box. And so again, it's just right there at the bottom of that threshold. And so with both of these combined, you're looking at a box that the value is a little bit lower than we normally see, because usually one or the other is going to be higher. The standard is going to be higher than their lower threshold, or maybe the standard's low 1 month, but the premium is higher. And so both of them are a little bit on the low side, meaning that the value is going to be a little bit lower. But at the same time, I liked all 5 items in the box. I'm happy with all 5 items in the box. Gonna have to do a little more playing around with them to see what I think long term, but my initial impressions of them were all positive, and so not really gonna complain about the value, although it does seem a little bit lower than what we would normally get. Let me know if you think the value is not there on this box. I mean, it's really gonna always with these things, it's a little bit of a gamble, and it's going to depend on if you like every item. So for example, if you didn't like the Byrd Meadowlark, I'm interested in checking it out. Probably not my typical EDC or anything like that, but interested enough to check it out. But if you're not into this at all, just hate it right out of the box, that takes $40 off the value, so your value is not there. And so that is the gamble you take with these boxes, but I did like all 5 items this month. But one thing that I was really hoping to see in here, besides the missing flashlight, I was hoping that they just kind of shipped it with this because the next month was ready and save on postage. That didn't happen, wasn't the case. And so if that wasn't the case, I was hoping that there would be a mention of it on this letter. And so I just got charged for April. They did wait to charge until the 29th, which is weird. They usually charge on the 22nd. And so I was figuring something was going on. Maybe they weren't sure if they were going to have the supplies to ship one of these boxes and just not going to charge people. But they did eventually charge. And so I was hoping they'd put an explanation of when that's going to ship or what's going on with that, just so that we have some clarity, because they haven't sent out a blast email or anything like that. And I would definitely appreciate the transparency. I'm not someone who gets super upset over these things, and I'm not upset about this at all, really. I don't care if it takes 3 months. I just want them to be kind of open about it and send an email or send some sort of communication letting us know what's happening. And so hasn't happened yet, haven't gotten an email. It wasn't mentioned on the letter, which I was hoping for, and that sucks for premium members. You know, you're missing the item. It sucks even worse for standard members, because the ones they didn't have a light for, they just didn't ship. And so I talked to Skibby, who has a channel here on YouTube as well, unboxes the standard box. He just got tracking for March, but still doesn't have February. And he also hasn't received anything from Going Gear directly, any sort of email telling him what's going on with February. So he has the March box on the way, still doesn't have February, which is just crazy. It's not that hard, especially today. Something like MailChimp lets you send blast emails. I think it's free as long as it's less than 10,000 people. I'm positive there's not 10,000 people in either of the Going Gear subscriptions. And so it wouldn't be that hard to send out a blast email to everyone just letting them know what's going on. It can be 2 sentences, but that transparency really makes it a lot easier to wait. If you're waiting and not knowing if you're ever going to get it, it's a lot more frustrating than if you know, okay, they said 2 weeks, that didn't happen. Now they're saying it'll be another month. Fine, now I know I just need to wait a month. But not knowing anything, it could be that I'm never going to get that, never will hear anything about it again. And from what I've heard, it's not just from Skibby. I've heard from comments on the last video, people that still haven't gotten any updates and still haven't received their boxes or getting charged or thinking about canceling. They reached out to customer service and haven't heard anything. And so you got to imagine, if this was your first box and your first experience with Going Gear, it's a horrible experience. And so I'm really happy with the items. I love Going Gear. think they do a really good job of curating items, but really wish they'd do a better job of being a little bit more transparent about that and just over communicating. If you over communicate, you're going to get a lot less upset people. And yes, that means that a little bit more work and maybe more responses than you would have got if you didn't send anything out at all. But you're going to get less kind of upset people and not ruin that experience for someone, like Blue Creek Knives, for example, did Knife Nerd Club. Unfortunately, it didn't work out because he had the same operational logistics that Going Gear had, and he ended up shutting it down. I hope that's not the case here. They're a much bigger company, have been around for a lot longer, so I'm sure they can weather this storm. But at the same time, one of my packages was like 2 days late to ship from the Knife Nerd Club, and he sent out an email apologizing for it, and I wouldn't have even noticed. 2 days is kind of nothing with the subscription. There's some that, you'll get them in the beginning of the month, every month for 6 months, and then all of a sudden you're getting them at the end of the month, and it happens. And so I wouldn't have been worried about that, but really appreciated his kind of over transparency and over communication in these type of situations. So would love to see Going Gear start to do that. If you haven't got yours, just know that you're not alone. There's plenty of people that haven't gotten the standard, although some people have gotten it early on when they had a couple of them on hand, I guess. That flashlight, they did ship them, but a lot of people that have the standard still haven't gotten theirs, and they still haven't shipped it for the premium members. So I'm hoping to see some sort of communication for them. I'm going to reach out to customer service. I was really putting it off because, like I said, it's not something I'm really sweating about. I understand it happens, and they did put it in the letter, but once they passed that mark of where they said, okay, it's delayed, this is when we're going to ship it, they should have sent another communication and dropped the ball there. So I am going to reach out to customer service. If I get an update, I will put it in the comments below, but hopefully all of this will get resolved and be a distant memory. But sorry for the rant, did want to include that in there for people who haven't been able to get a hold of Going Gear and really just want to know what's going on. I don't have any affiliation with them, I'm just a fan of these boxes, and so I wanted to pass on what information I did have and hopefully clear up any of those confusions. And just again, if you haven't heard anything and you want to know, hit up customer service. If enough people email them, they'll get to the point where it makes sense, hopefully, to send out a blast email to all of the subscribers to this subscription. And so let me know what you think of this month's box, what you think of the value. Again, a little bit low, but I'm still really happy with all of the items, so I don't mind the lower value being that all 5 are usable items that I like, but that might not be the case for everyone, so would love to hear what you think. And as always, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification button, and I hope you have a great one. Take care.